In this video, I want to show you my 15 favourite guitars from Harley Benton. Prices range from between £75 or about $95 to the most expensive being £425 or around $530. All the links to the guitars will be in the description below, and I've included chapters so that you can move around this video and just check out and compare the ones that you're interested in. Or you can just sit back and relax and enjoy this marathon deep dive of these 15 guitars. I've now had a proper chance to play around with this Harley Benton SC450 Plus guitar, and I'm looking forward to showing you how good this guitar really is. This is a Les Paul style guitar that costs just under £150. I've previously made an unboxing video, as well as a comparison against a Gibson Les Paul standard. In this video, I'm going to demo the guitar in a mix as well as on its own. So the specs are 24 3/4 inch scale length, 12 inch radius, 22 frets, mahogany body, maple cap with a AAA flame maple, what I suspect to be a veneer, but I'm not sure, an Akumi neck, Laurel fretboard, cream binding on the body and the neck, probably a plastic nut, but it's not listed in the specs, 2 coil splittable Alnico 5 PAF style humbuckers, 2 volumes, 2 tone controls, and a 3-way switch. I was supposed to get this video out about a month or so ago, but I haven't quite had the chance, and it's given me a bit more time to get to know the guitar at least. The neck is chunky, but still fast and comfortable. It stays in tune really well, which is a pleasant surprise. The pickups sound good to me. In my opinion, it doesn't feel or sound cheap. It also doesn't feel like a premium single cut to me. And that's mainly due to the poly finish. I think that if you're really into Gibson Les Pauls, then having a nitro finish really does add a level of authenticity to the feel of the guitar. But to most people, this won't matter at all. And I don't want this to put you off. I just want to explain my personal bias. I should make it clear that I'm not being paid for this. I bought this guitar with my own money, and if I am ever sent a product for demoing, I always click the appropriate buttons so that you know that I haven't paid for it. And even then, my opinions are still my own. There's no point in trying to grow this community if it isn't based on honest reaction and genuine advice. I've also had a few comments recently from people that think that these guitars are just for beginners and are not good enough for serious players, but I disagree, so check this out. So for that demo, I just plugged the guitar straight into my Focusrite Scarlett interface and used some patches that I'd made using Line 6 Helix Native. Now let's check out some isolated sounds. Let me know what you think. I'll be recording the sound with an SM57 in front of a V30 loaded 212 cab with no post-processing. Hopefully that translates well over YouTube. The pickups sound warm and clear. They're uncompressed sounding, which allow you to play with dynamics. The coil splits sound convincing enough, but again, so you know, I'm not really a big fan of the sound of split coil humbuckers most of the time. I'd say that this guitar would make a good modding or upgrading platform. Personally, I think the guitar is cool and doesn't need any upgrades. If I were to choose a couple, I'd say locking tuners, a Graphtec Tusk nut, and possibly a hotter bridge pickup, but that especially is just a matter of taste. Let me know down below in the comments what upgrades or changes you would make to this guitar. Do you have a spare £110? If you do, check this out. I already made an unboxing and initial impressions video for this guitar, but here it is, my full review and demo of this sub $150 and sub €150 guitar. So is this just the Wish.com version of a Gym Root Strat? No way. I mean, you heard the track. What did you think of the sound? For a £110 guitar into some cheap plugins, I was more than happy with that. This is obviously heavily inspired by the massively successful Fender Gym Root Signature Strat, and this guitar itself is in no way affiliated to Gym Root or Slipknot, and Toman don't suggest that it is. It's just my wild speculation. I've spent a few weeks with this now, so I feel able to speak about it more accurately than I was before, with a bit more experience behind me. I'll start off by saying that out of the box, this guitar arrived in a very playable state, much more so than most other guitars I've tried at this price point. Considering the enormous volume of guitars Toman buy in and ship out every day, I was impressed. I did want to keep this guitar in a lower tuning, so I changed the strings for some Ernie Ball beefy slinkies, plus a wound third, tuned it to drop B flat, lowered the action slightly, and it was perfect. In my original video, I said that this would make the perfect backup guitar, or a guitar kept in an alternate tuning, but after spending a bit of time with it, I'm not so sure. I think this has the potential to be more than that, depending on what other guitars you have in your collection. Let me give you a really quick reminder of the specs. We've got a 25.5-inch scale length, 12-inch radius, 22 frets, maple neck, roseacre fretboard, poplar body, hipshot style hardtail bridge, single volume control, 3-way toggle, and 2 EMG style active pickups that sound massive. A lot of people are wondering if these really do sound like EMGs, and I would say, yeah, they do. They really do. The EMG sound is something I've got to know and understand really well over the past 15 years, and I definitely think these hold their own against a set of EMGs. When you receive the guitar, the battery box is empty, but they supply a fresh, brand new 9-volt battery in the box that it's delivered in, so you'll get plenty of hours of playing from that. It'd be nice if more brands chose to ship guitars in that way. If you don't like EMGs and you don't like the compression and lack of dynamics, then you won't enjoy these pickups, but boosted into a Marshall type sound, this is instant Zakk Wylde, and I love it. The tight low end and fast response makes this guitar perfect for metal and heavier styles of rock. Let's check out some sounds. I'll be using an SM57 in front of a V30 loaded 212 cab with no post-processing. Okay, so let's hear how the neck pickup sounds. Both pickups. Bridge pickup. Okay, some mid-gain sounds with the neck pickup. both pickups. And the bridge pickup. High gain bridge pickup. High gain neck pickup. Neck pickup lead. And lastly, some lead with the bridge pickup. The neck feels comfortable and fast. The frets have been finished nicely. If I was being over the top picky, then 10 minutes polishing these frets would make some difference, although not quite as much as I would usually expect from a guitar in this price range. The frets are surprisingly reasonably well done. I love the satin finish. I think it really makes the pick guard and the hardware pop in a tasteful way. Every part of this guitar feels much higher quality than you would expect. The tuners and the bridge feel good, and it stays in tune really well. I did stretch the strings loads and lubricate all the points of contact with some D'Addario lubricant when I restrung it. If you don't like the configuration of this guitar, it would make a good modding platform. Hardtail Strat bodies are far less common than ones routed for tremolos, but to be honest, if I was going to mod a Strat style guitar to play metal, this is probably the configuration I'd end up with. If you're looking for a guitar that does heavy rock and metal well, and is relatively affordable, I can't recommend this guitar enough. It's so good. These must be selling really well because I've noticed that they're going out of stock on a regular basis, so keep an eye on their website if you're interested. Alright, so confession time. I've never really listened to much of Jim Root's playing, to be honest. When Slipknot were breaking out and getting big, I was listening to a lot of new metal at the time, but for some reason not Slipknot. So what should I listen to? Let me know what tracks of his I should check out. I've listened to quite a bit of Stone Sour, way more than Slipknot, so maybe let me know what you think are his best solos so I can check them out. So today we're going to have a look at the TE62 from Harley Benton. This one is in Candy Apple Red. So I'm currently at the first ever 42 Gear Island, which is a big YouTuber event where we review gear and play guitar on the beach. It's the first ever time this has happened. Harley Benton have sent this guitar along because they're co-sponsors of the event, along with Mono Cases, Engel Amplification, Yamaha, Walrus Audio Effects and Sweetwater. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to have a look at this guitar and demo a few sounds for you. So let's have a quick look at the specs. So we've got a poplar body, a maple neck with a roseacre skunk stripe, a Laurel fretboard, 21 frets, it's a 12-inch radius and a 25.5-inch scale length. Typical Telecaster volume and tone configuration of 1 volume, 1 tone and a 3-way toggle switch. It's got double white binding, so binding on the front and the back, and the pickups are Alnico 5 Roswell pickups. So now let's hear how the guitar sounds. All the sounds you'll be hearing will be through the Line 6 Pod Go, which has been sent to us by Yamaha as they're one of the sponsors for the event. That's a gecko. It's a gecko invading the video. Yeah, so Yamaha are oh, it's a dog. A dog and a gecko. Hello. So that is the T62 from Harley Benton. It's so hot here today. I think they said it feels like 46 degrees. The lizards seem to be enjoying it. I can see some geckos running about just off shot. So yeah, the guitar out of the box, it was okay. The setup wasn't too bad, but since then, Perfecto and Carlos have restrung and set the guitar up so it plays really well. I don't have a single issue with the setup and some kind of tropical bird. Yeah, the setup's completely good now. I'm glad that they did it because it shows like what can be achieved with a guitar like this, and it's just the perfect playing guitar. Fit and finish, everything's really good, no problems at all, except the ferrules on the back. They weren't biting into the body, so when they were restringing it, they all fell to the ground. One of them got lost in the sand, so this has to be restrung through the bridge instead, which works just as well. So just keep that in mind when you do, if you do have one of these and you go to restring it, keep an eye on the ferrules at the back. They will possibly drop out if it's anything like this guitar. This is the brand new Harley Benton JA60cc. And spoiler alert, it's the best Harley Benton I've ever played. I am blown away with the quality of this guitar. I don't usually start my videos like this, but I'm genuinely shocked. In this video, I'm going to go over the specs, play you some sounds, and give you my opinion on this guitar. Now, Harley Benton had a Jazzmaster style guitar before this. This is a new revamped version of that guitar, and they've added new colours. You can now get them in Lake Placid Blue, Inca Silver, Seafoam Green, although to me it looks a lot more like Surf Green, Dakota Red, and this Shell Pink. All very cool colours, and they've definitely made it very difficult to decide which one. Let me know down below which one is your favourite colour or which one you would choose. I'd be really interested to hear. These guitars are £155, €179 or $149, less than half the price of the equivalent Squire Classic Vibe model. The body is basswood, and this one has a flawless shell pink poly finish. The comfortable C-shaped neck is made from caramelised Canadian maple and comes with a bound laurel fretboard. And that fretboard has block inlays, and that really adds to the premium feel and look of this guitar. It has a 25.5-inch scale length and 21 frets. The pickups are listed as two Roswell JM Alnico 5 vintage style. This is where things aren't so clear, but more on that later. It has a single volume, single tone, a three-way pickup selector switch, a Tunematic style fixed bridge, Kluson style tuners, and chrome hardware. As I mentioned before, the finish is perfect and the colour looks just as it does in the website photos. Before I talk about the neck, I just want to make it clear that I bought this guitar. It wasn't given to me. I didn't receive any discounts. This guitar wasn't cherry-picked in any kind of way as far as I know. So this is where this guitar gets interesting. The feel of the satin neck is unbelievable. It feels expensive, premium. It feels like a high-end neck. The neck, binding and fretboard just feel one seamless transition between the different materials. The fret job is probably the best of any guitar that I've had on my channel so far. They are 100% perfect. No sharp fret ends, no fret sprout. Most impressively, have been polished to perfection on a £155 guitar. I've had two brand new Fender Player Series guitars this year, and the fret job and setup has been far better on this Harley Benton than it was on either of those guitars, and they were about 4 times the price of this. I like the tuners. They're the split shaft vintage Kluson style ones, and they feel very good. Combined with the well-cut nut, I haven't had any tuning issues whatsoever. I wouldn't be in a rush to upgrade these tuners. Something I didn't realise until recently was that the body size is slightly smaller than a traditional Jazzmaster. For me, that's a change that's very welcome. I'm not really into big, cumbersome bodies, and it's something that's always put me off the bigger offset guitars. From the spec sheet, I think we're to believe that it comes with Jazzmaster pickups. I'm far from a Jazzmaster connoisseur, but they do seem to be deeper than the traditional very flat Jazzmaster pickups. And in my opinion, they sound a lot more like P90s than normal single coils or Jazzmaster pickups. And this could also be because Jazzmasters traditionally use 1 meg pots as opposed to the usual 250k ones used with single coils or 500k ones used with humbuckers. This guitar doesn't use the 1 meg pots, it comes with the 250k ones from the factory. But for me, it's not an issue. I like the sound coming from this guitar a lot. I'm not going to pretend I'm a single coil or even a P90 person because I'm just not as my main everyday sound anyway. But I do really like what I hear coming from these pickups. They've got a good amount of output and are not overly bright or harsh. Something I don't like is the three-way switch. It's a very cheap feeling, it sticks, it's loud, it's clunky, and it ruins the overall feel of the guitar. And the way it's positioned to select from left to right instead of up to down, it's just annoying. I'll definitely sort it out at some point, but that's my only real complaint with this guitar. It comes shipped with 10 to 46 apparently unbranded strings, but they feel fine, not like the cheap, nasty feeling generic ones that we're used to at this price point. Now I'd like to play you some different sounds for you guys. All the sounds you'll be hearing will be through a vintage 30 loaded 212 with a Shure SM57 microphone. make another video on this in a while once I've really spent some time getting to know this guitar. It's still kind of my initial impressions. But so far to me, this is a Jazzmaster for people that don't really like Jazzmasters, maybe. Or who are not ready to jump in 100% to a traditional Jazzmaster. And the reason I say this is because all the things that put me off a Jazzmaster have either been removed or fixed. The fact that it has a hardtail and not some kind of weird, complicated offset style trem. It's more practical in real world playing, unless you're playing music that lends itself to that, and I'm really not. The way that they haven't included the small sliders or controls up here, I don't need that. I definitely don't want that. 2 controls and a 3-way is more than enough for me. Then again, if I had my own way, I'd probably lose the tone knob as well. I'm glad that they haven't gone with normal sounding Jazzmaster pickups or wiring. It's very niche, and I think this kind of sound will make more people happy. And the smaller body size is just much more appealing to me. I made the mistake of assuming that I knew what this guitar was going to be before even plugging it in. Indie, jangly stuff, punky, surf maybe, possibly able to pull off a bit of lightweight pop punk. So that's what I intended the intro track to be, but that's far from what came out of this thing. And I'm far from an offset hater, so don't get offended. It's just not who I am as a player. I'm a heavier rock person. I like looking at offsets. They're actually quite fascinating, but not for me yet. Maybe this could become my gateway into offsets. Who knows? Since getting this guitar, you might have noticed that I've used it in tons of videos, and to be honest, I wasn't really expecting to like it anywhere near as much as I do. This is the Fusion 3 from Harley Benton. It's the version with the tremolo. They also make it in a hardtail as well. I made an unboxing and initial impressions video of this guitar a few months back now, but since then I've been able to spend quite a bit of time with this guitar, so I feel like I'm able to give you a much more accurate opinion of it. You can buy this guitar for around £350, 400 euros or $350. And the quick version is that if you're interested in this guitar, I'd go for it. So first, let's talk about the specs, and then I'll tell you what I think about the guitar. And finally, I'll play you some sounds. So body-wise, it actually feels similar to a Jackson Dinky, which has a slightly smaller body shape, normally around 7/8 of the size, I think. I don't know if that's the case with this. It could be, but there's definitely something that feels high performance and sleek about this. It's like there's nothing to get in your way or hold you back. The body is made of Nyota and has a transparent finish on the back and this really cool silver sparkle finish on the front. They do also come in black if sparkle is a bit too flashy for your style, as well as other colour and pickup combinations, Floyd Rose equipped versions and hardtail versions. It has a bolt-on modern C-shaped neck made of roasted flame maple that's really eye-catching and perfectly finished. The fretboard is also roasted flame maple with 22 medium jumbo stainless steel frets that in this case have been finished to a really high standard and were perfect out of the box. It has a 25.5-inch scale length, as you would generally expect on this style of guitar, and a 12-inch neck radius, which is much flatter than traditional Fender-style guitars. Still kind of an interesting choice to decide not to go with a 14 or maybe a 12 to 16 compound radius, which you'd normally find on other comparable high-performance Strat-style guitars like Charvels and Ibanez, that kind of thing. Still a really good neck. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with 12 inches. The nut is a good quality new bone nut that's been cut really well. The strings glide through the slots nicely without sticking. Overall, the tuning stability has been near enough perfect. The pickups are Roswell Alnico 5 PAF style, and to be honest, I wasn't too sure about them at first, but I think it's because I'm kind of really used to hot pickups in this style of guitar, and I've actually grown to really enjoy the clarity of these lower output pickups. And in some ways, they actually sound bigger than higher output alternatives. It has a 3-way switch, a master volume and a master tone control with push-pull function to coil split the pickups. Matte nickel hardware that I'm still a bit unsure about. It feels really good quality. It just reminds me of cheaper guitars. The Wilkinson 2-point tremolo is very good. Not as reliable as a locking trem, but still much better than the vintage style without the hassle of a locking trem. The tuners are staggered and lock-in, so that, along with the good quality, well-cut nut, keeps the guitar in tune really well. I still have the same 10 to 46 strings on it that this guitar ships with, and it still feels pretty good after a good amount of playing. I would say that if you're looking elsewhere for a guitar with these features and this quality, you're probably going to need to spend about twice the amount of what this costs. I'd compare this to something from Charvel's Pro Mod series, Jackson's X series, and Schecter's, I don't know, maybe Sun Valley. Anything around the £600 to £800 mark. The benefit you get from buying one of the other brands is you get the branded pickups like Seymour Duncan's or EMG's, so if you're looking into this guitar, maybe factor that into the price. When you consider the fact that it has the stainless steel frets, the roasted flame maple neck and fretboards, and the high quality hardware, I think that £350 is a bit of a steal. I played a hardtail version of one of these recently, and it was just as good. I did play a Fusion Telly version of one of these recently, and at first I thought it was perfect, but then I realised the high E string kept falling off the fretboards, and initially I thought it was because it had a more narrow neck, but then we looked and realised the bridge hadn't been put on straight, and you could clearly see this because the strings were way off the centre of the pickup's pole pieces. It was actually Perfecto de Castro that noticed this, not me, so I don't know why I'm trying to take credit. You know Perfecto. If you don't know Perfecto, look him up. He's a proper guitarist and he has an amazing YouTube channel. And the reason that I bring this up is that although this one is perfect and I have no problem recommending these guitars, you do have to check these guitars very closely. They're able to make these guitars at this price point partly because of the speed that they're able to build them. And that means that the chances of a problematic one slipping through quality control is higher. It's not a problem because it's easy to return, and I'm sure Thomann will look after you with a replacement or refund. Just check the guitar very carefully so that you can get this kind of thing sorted as soon as possible if you need to. As I mentioned before, the tuning stability has been perfect. The neck feels very solid. I've moved around between a few different tunings and haven't had to make any truss rod adjustments. If I did need to, access is easy enough. The neck feels comfortable and there are no sharp fret ends. It feels like somebody has put a lot of time into making the neck feel the way that it does. The lower output pickups and coil split make this guitar very versatile and it can cover most styles easily. I'm not really a fan of coil splits and prefer higher output pickups, but that's completely a personal preference. Looking at the guitar and the features objectively, I can honestly say that I don't have a single complaint. So now I'll play you some isolated sounds. The sounds you'll be hearing will be coming through a 212 cabinet with vintage 30 speakers, mic'd up with an SM57. Let me know what you think about the sounds down below. I'm really impressed and I would 100% recommend this guitar. What do you think? Would you buy it? What do you think about the colour and the features? So this is the Fusion 3 from Harley Benton, the telly shape one. They do a S-type, Strat type one as well. So we've got a body made of some kind of wood, no idea what kind of wood, but the important thing here is it's gold. It's the special edition for this year for their anniversary of Harley Benton. It's this custom gold finish, which looks brilliant. We've got a master volume, master tone, which also coil splits. We've got a 3-way toggle switch, these Tesla humbuckers, Wilkinson bridge, locking tuners, flame maple neck, flame maple fretboards, 22, what I'm pretty sure, 99% certain are stainless steel frets. So yeah, a really high spec guitar. No idea how much these are going to sell for because we've got no information about these guitars. So just check the link in the description. That'll take you and give you the most up-to-date price anyway. So although I'm not able to give you too much in terms of specs and price and that kind of thing, what I can do is play you some sounds. So all the sounds you'll be hearing are coming from the Line 6 Pod Go. It's been given to us by Yamaha, who are co-sponsoring this event, along with Mono Cases, Engel Amplification, Walrus Audio Effects, Harley Benton Guitars and Sweetwater. So that's the Fusion 3 T-type guitar from Harley Benton. Not sure of the actual name because it hasn't been released yet. Hopefully you managed to get something from that at least. I know we weren't able to go over the specs 100% and we kind of guessed a few, but at the time this video goes out, hopefully all the specs will be there and you'll be able to see. I didn't actually get a chance to play this guitar out of the box, so I'm not sure how it came in terms of setup and that sort of thing, but Perfecto has set this one up and it plays amazingly. I don't have any complaints at all. It's easy to play, nothing gets in your way. I'm really happy with it. If you are interested in the Fusion T-type guitar, do check out the S-type as well, their Strat-type Fusion guitar. I made a video for it just here. It's well worth checking out. It's such a good guitar. I'm going to go and kayak or snorkel or probably put some more sun cream on. It is so, so hot. So this is the second Harley Benton guitar that I've had a chance to try out recently. The first one being the TE20 with the single coils, which is a much more traditional Telecaster type. This one having the dual humbuckers is much more suited to what I play, the music that I play. So I've been really looking forward to trying this one out. I'll go over the specs with you quickly, and then I'll show you the small tweaks that I made that I think take it from a good budget guitar to just a good guitar overall. Then I'll give you a bit of playing and finish up with my thoughts on the guitar. So it has a basswood body, a maple neck with a roseacre fretboard, 25.5-inch scale length and a 12-inch radius. They don't say what the nut material is made of. It has non-locking tuners, bolt-on design, tortoiseshell pickguard, three-way switch, master volume, master tone, and a matte black satin finish. It took about an hour to get this guitar ready. I'll quickly show you what that involved. I started by removing the strings, peeling off the plastic from the pickguard, taping up the fretboard nut and pickups. I used the 1500 grit sandpaper followed by some 2000 grit to prepare the frets for polishing. Then moved on to the polishing part. Removed the protective tape, conditioned the fretboard with Music Nomad F1 oil, and then lubricated the nut with my D'Addario lubricant. I'll be down tuning this guitar, so I'll be restringing it with Ernie Ball beefy slinkies. Lastly, I adjusted the action. The relief and intonation were already pretty good. So bear in mind that I'm quite picky about the way guitars are set up. If you're a beginner, then the only stage of that I'd say is quite important not to miss is probably do the action. They include the correct Allen key for this with the guitar, and I probably had to take it down 3 or 4 full rotations, so like a full 360 rotations 3 or 4 times. So let's hear how it sounds in a mix and then on its own. So what do I think of it? It's £82, and I think I could record an album with it. It's worth every penny. I've been playing it for hours now, and it stays in tune brilliantly. Yeah, I've stretched the strings out a lot, and I've lubricated the saddles and the nut. But for it to stay in tune as well as it does, I'm really impressed. Yeah, the finish is going to go shiny where your arm's touching it, because it's already started doing it. I've been playing it for a few hours and it's already started going shiny in some places. But I like that look on a matte black guitar. It shows that you've played it, you've put the hours in, and you've been enjoying it. I think something that a lot of companies struggle to get right on these kind of guitars is the headstock shape, from an aesthetic kind of point of view. And to me, I think this is a good looking headstock. I wouldn't mind. I'd gig with this. I wouldn't be embarrassed. I think it's pretty cool. The electronics have been really good. There's no cutting out or sort of crackles or anything like that. So I'm happy with that. I think the pickups sound pretty good. What do you think? Neck pickup, no complaints at all. If I'm being really sort of critical, then possibly the bridge pickup slightly muddy. Maybe some point in the future I'd change it for like a JB or a super distortion or something like that. But no, it sounds good. I feel like I need to criticise it or point out some bad features or something bad about it, but I'm being completely honest, like, there's just nothing. I'm not saying it's a perfect guitar, but you don't need to change anything. The nut is cut really well. The frets, now that they've been polished up, they feel really good. The bridge has been good. The tuner stability I've been really impressed with that. Maybe chuck some locking tuners on just for quicker string changes. Put some locking strap blocks. If you don't like the shininess on the matte black finish, that might be an issue for you, but struggling to find anything bad to say, to be honest. Even out of the box, like I said earlier, the only thing that really needed doing was the action, because it was so high. It wasn't as high as the last Harley Benton I had, but it was still too high, but that takes no time. It's easy enough to do. Even the frets, play it for a little while, it would have polished up and they would have been fine. I just wanted to get them done, but yeah, just nothing to complain about. To be honest, any guitar that I buy, I kind of expect to have to at least do the action. I got to play a Strat last week, and the action was way up here, and that guitar was like 8 or 9 times the price of this. Would I gig with it? Yeah, I can't see why not. I'd do a gig with it. If you care about the brand on the headstock, then get something else. If you don't care about that kind of thing, gig with it. So I recently got hold of one of these Harley Benton Amarok baritone guitars. You see very recently, still has the hang tag on it. In this brilliant colour green, this emerald kind of green, which is one of my favourite colours for guitars. I always thought that on YouTube that was going to be my thing, like green guitars, because I have a lot of green guitars, but apparently Bane got there first. So I still need to figure out what my thing is going to be. So any suggestions, let me know. Also, there's a lot of green going on in the background that I've been using recently, and I think it kind of clashes with this. It doesn't really allow it to pop, so let's try a different colour. Blue? Yeah, that's not too bad. And maybe if we had a bit of... Yeah, I like that. Let's do that. So this is the most up-to-date recent model that they make, and I watched a few videos of reviews recently on the older model, and it looks like there's been a few changes over the years, so I will go over the specs and they'll be the most current up-to-date ones. I was speaking to my friend at Harley Benton, and I was saying I'd like to get my hands on either a 7-string or a baritone, and he suggested the baritone, so I was happy to go with that. And recently I played the 6-string version of, well, this is 6-string as well, but the normal 25.5-inch scale length version of this, and that was brilliant. So I'm hoping that this will be the same, just lower, because lower is better. So I think it looks stunning. There's nothing wrong with the way it looks. If we look at the specs, it starts off with... let's talk about the body first. It says the body is mahogany, but as you can see, it's a through neck, but we'll talk about that. So I'm guessing the wings are mahogany, and I think there's a mahogany cap that's been carved, and then on top of that they put a quilted maple veneer. I wasn't sure if it was a maple veneer. I actually thought it was a piece of an actual maple cap, because I don't know if you've noticed recently, well, in the last, I don't know however many years, but the veneers that they use are just, not Harley Benton, just guitar companies in general, are so perfect. It's kind of ruined the look of, you know, more expensive kind of, you almost want it to have some kind of character. Something that's not quite so perfect, because then it almost feels like it's more real. And it's something that I heard Phil McKnight talk about recently, and I'm not copying him, but it kind of sort of validated that thought process, because he knows what he's talking about, and I'm just me. But yeah, it's a convincing, not over the top, very subtle quilted maple look with a nice satin finish. So the 5-piece neck through body is maple, mahogany, maple, mahogany, maple. So a really kind of sturdy construction. It has this really good looking and feeling Mikasa ebony fretboards and these offset pearl white inlays, but more importantly, it has the glow in the dark side markers, and I came prepared for this because my guitar, the LT Custom guitar, has lumen lays on the sides, and I recently played a gig and completely, I didn't take it out of the case or anything, I just turned up to the gig and then I couldn't see where I was. So I bought these UV lights on Amazon. I'll link them below if I can find them, but literally you shine them over the markers for a couple of seconds, and I think I'd done like 20 seconds on mine, and it got me through a whole half an hour gig. And at first you would swear they were LEDs, they're so bright. After about sort of 20 minutes, half an hour, they do fade a bit, and towards the end of the gig, you kind of, it's not really showing anymore, but well worth the investment. I think this was like £6 for 2 of these, and they came with the batteries, and they seem to last a long time. So, because you're not going to use them very much, 20 seconds before a gig or rehearsal or whatever, and that'll be it. That'll be enough. They say it has a slim C modern neck profile, and I would say that's pretty accurate. Thickness at the first fret is 21mm, and at the 12th is 23mm. So not a wizard neck, but you know, not a big, huge, chunky neck. There's enough that it feels sturdy, and but not too much that it gets in the way. It has body binding made of real wood, so taped off and painted. So that, I think that makes it look a lot more expensive, and it's got a matching headstock as well. Fingerboard radius, 355.6mm, but in human terms, that is 14 inches. Scale, 27 inches. So it gives it in inches on the scale, but not in the fingerboard radius. So 27-inch scale length, which, if you're new to baritone, it's not going to feel so different that it's going to be off-putting, whereas maybe a 28 or a 30-inch scale length guitar might be, but it's still going to be long enough to be doing all the silly low tunings. Like this one comes with strings, I think they're 12 to 64s. We'll go over that, and I think that maybe they're a bit too much, so you probably go down to drop G or something and it'd work really well. A graphite nut and stainless steel frets that have been finished really well. There's no grittiness or anything like that. There's no sharp fret ends or fret sprout or anything like that. But they've been finished really well, which is impressive. A dual action truss rod, a jumbo frets obviously. Dual action truss rod, and the pickups are EMG. I like EMG pickups. These are the retroactives, so they're a bit less compressed, a bit more passive feeling. I think that's a reasonable way of describing it. It's got the retroactive hot ceramic in the bridge and the Alnico 5 in the neck. master volume, master tone, and three-way switch. Which, if I had to say anything about this guitar at the moment that's not up to this kind of quality, is the feel of the switch does feel a bit cheap. No push-pull, which I'm completely happy with. I'm not a big fan of coil splitting. It's got this hip shot style bridge, which feels good quality, and locking tuners that are Jinho locking tuners. I think they did used to come with a name brand, but that's one of the changes. But the tuners have been really good. So it's a set of 13s to 62s on this, which I think I did read a couple of comments where they said they thought it was a bit overkill, and I'd have to say I do agree. You could probably get away with going a gauge lighter on this, maybe sort of like 12 to 56, 58 with a wound B, wound G, wound third string. I'm getting myself confused here. Yeah, as long as you've got a wound third and a set of 12s, you'll be fine going B to B. This will get you B to B, of course. It comes tuned like that and designed for that. So I've got it in drop A at the moment, and I've gone a full step down to drop G, and it works perfectly with this gauge of strings. So. Yeah, emerald, natural, quilted, burst satin. It's a good feeling. The satin finish on this entire guitar, and made in Indonesia, which I'm sure you're already aware. It's a pretty good thing nowadays. There's nothing to complain about. Nothing wrong with an Indonesian-made guitar. And this guitar is £429, which, when you look at the specs, I think that's a very, very good deal. If you look at a guitar with this kind of specs from other brands, you'd be looking at maybe, for example, a Chapman guitar. They do a baritone that's, I think, about £900, which is a similar kind of spec. Name brand pickup, Seymour Duncan's. I think it's got maybe a couple of extras like hip shot locking tuners instead of own brand locking tuners. But the design of it is a bolt-on as well, which is usually a cheaper option than a neck-through guitar. So that's nearly twice the price, well, about twice the price of this guitar. And then there's the PRS SE 277, which is a baritone guitar, a set neck design, so not too dissimilar to this. I think PRS SE pickups, so not branded pickups. And that's about £900 to £1,000, so again, twice the price of this. Would I rather it say PRS or Chapman on the headstock? Maybe. Harley Benton's not the coolest name on the headstock, but that is pretty much the only downside. And when you really think about it, like, you turn up to a gig and you're playing a Harley Benton and it sounds this good and it looks this good and you're playing as well as you do, it's probably a bit more impressive. So maybe it is a cool thing. I think Ibanez makes something in the £800, the black label, iron label, something like that. And again, that would be a sort of competitor to this guitar, but a lot more money. So I don't have any baritone guitars. I've got an 8-string, which is 26.5 or something, but that doesn't really count. And I've got a lot of 25.5-inch scale length guitars. And the first thing that I noticed when playing this guitar is there wasn't really much. It didn't take much time to kind of get used to it, and there wasn't any kind of learning curve or anything like that. It was just pretty much felt like a 25.5-inch scale length guitar. There's a slight difference, but nothing too noticeable. So if you're worried about that, I wouldn't let that put you off. it just doesn't feel much different really, but it definitely sounds and handles the lower tuning a lot better. The fretwork looks and feels perfect. It seems like somebody spent a long time on it. The action's a little bit high, and the intonation is set in a straight line. It's like nobody's even bothered to intonate it in any kind of way. But I wanted to play it to you as it is out of the box, and it's still very playable. It does need sorting out. I don't play baritone tuning enough for me to really warrant a really high-end baritone guitar. And I feel like for a lot of people, they'll be in a similar kind of situation. So for me, if this was my only baritone guitar, which it is, I'm happy with that. I don't need anything else. I'm completely fine with this. I've got a Schecter 8-string. I'm never going to be playing very much 8-string. It's the Omen 8. It's in the sort of £400 mark. And again, a similar situation with that. I'm never going to play too much 8-string. That's perfect for my 8-string needs. If I was really into that kind of stuff, then yeah, I'd dive deeper into that rabbit hole, and probably I may not be as satisfied with that guitar as I may not be as satisfied with this guitar. But as it is, this guitar fits my needs for baritone tunings. Recording, perfect. I'm never going to do a gig with it because I don't play in that tuning. So, as with all Harley Bentons that I've ever owned, bought, been sent, whatever, they're always packaged really well from home in a box within a box with loads of foam packaging and stuff. And I do have some of the worst delivery drivers, so the boxes come pretty beaten up, and they're always perfect. They're always fine inside, so they do a really good job packaging. I always feel pretty good about buying from home, and it comes a long way from me. I'm in the UK. I'm sorry if there's loads of fan noise, by the way. I've got 2 different fans going, plus a fan on the camera to stop it overheating, because, as I'm sure you're aware, London is well known for its sunny weather, hot weather, and heat waves, and it's just something I'm dealing with right now. It's like 35 degrees in here and very hot, so just got to deal with it. And weight-wise, when you consider the extra mass, it's about, I don't know, the weight of your average Strat kind of thing. I like light guitars, and I definitely wouldn't have a problem playing this guitar, so if that tells you anything. I would weigh it, but I don't have any scales here or anything, so I don't know if that was helpful in any way at all, but it's a good weight. Don't worry about it. The paintwork, I can't find any flaws in it. I've looked took it outside and looked in the sunlight. I can't see any problems with it all. It's been finished really well. No tooling marks or anything like that on the fretboards that I can notice. I really like the spoke wheel truss rod adjustment. I think that unless it's a vintage kind of guitar, most guitars should just adopt this kind of method of adjusting the truss rod, because it just makes life so much easier. Because it is only a 27-inch scale length and not a huge jump, lead playing is just as easy as it is on pretty much any other normal guitar. The width of the gap of the frets doesn't stop you in any kind of way. It's actually slightly more comfortable because you haven't got to kind of squeeze in so much, especially when you get up the far end of the fretboard up to like sort of it makes like the sort of 22nd, 3rd and 4th frets a lot more usable. I'd even go as far to say that this is the best value for money baritone guitar you can buy. Within this price range, I can't find anything else that even compares spec-wise to this. I've had a good look online and I can't find it. If you know of anything, please let me know down below, because I'd love to check it out. I'd love to compare it. I think unless you're going to spend twice the amount of money on a guitar like this, you won't find anything for this kind of price. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. If you want a brand on the headstock, you're going to have to pay a lot more. I don't think it's worth it, really. It's not worth it for me in my situation. It might be worth it for you. If you're in a band and you use baritone, if you want a backup baritone, if you've got like a high-end baritone and you want like a backup for that, then yeah, this is what you want.
Oh, hey, Jake!
Great video, Jake!
What a video that was! Have you subscribed yet? Why not?
Subscribe!
This is the SC552 Deluxe from Harley Benton, and today I'm at 42 Gear Island here in the Philippines. It's very hot, it's very sunny, and it's a bit windy, so you have to excuse the wind noise. If you don't know what 42 Gear Island is, it's a crazy idea that Henning Pauly from HP42 had, which involved renting a private island and sending 10 YouTubers to make guitar videos and pedal videos and be in the sun and just be together and have bonding time, get to know each other, make some friends. Only Henning could think of something like this, and what can you say? It's Henning. So I spent quite a bit of time with the SC450. This is the 550, so as you would expect, slightly higher specs. I will go over the specs. I haven't learned them all, so I'm going to have to use my cheat sheet. So this is the Flame Maple version with the Tobacco Sunburst finish. And I'm just going to grab those specs and we'll go over them together. So this is from Harley Benton's Deluxe series, which sits between the Vintage series and the Pro series. This has a chambered mahogany body, and the first thing that came to mind when I picked this guitar up was it is very light. It's maybe even slightly neck heavy because it is so light, but it's probably one of the lightest Les Paul LP type guitars that I've ever picked up. So if you like that kind of thing, it's definitely worth checking this out. It has a mahogany body, a Palfaro fretboard, a 60s neck profile, so slightly thinner than the 50s, if that's more your thing. The scale length is 24.75 inch scale length, as you would expect on a guitar like this. It has a 12-inch radius. The nut width is 42 millimeters. It has a graphite nut. So one spec that this does have that my 450 doesn't have is stainless steel frets. So that's a nice addition there. It's got the Tesla Alnico 5 pickups, typical Les Paul 2 volume 2 tones, 3-way selector switch. This one comes with a DLX Tunematic bridge, Clusen style tuners, and all the chrome hardware is DLX as well. The factory strings that come with it are D'Addario 10 to 46, and as I said before, this is the faded Tobacco Flame Gloss. Doesn't look very faded, but definitely a tobacco burst guitar. If you are interested in this guitar, it's definitely worth checking out this video just here. It's the 450 Plus, and I compare it directly to a Gibson.
Oh, hey, Jake!
Great video, Jake!
What a video that was! Have you subscribed yet? Why not?
Subscribe!
Subscribe right now. Click it. Click it. What about the
Lick
bell?
it!
Bell.
Don't lick it! Alright, let's go!
Let's go. Bye, Ray!
And that's the end of the video. Goodbye.
What's going on?
Oh, it's too late.
What's happening? What are we doing?
I'd say check out these people's videos and channels, but obviously you're already subscribed, so
Probably not. because
Subscribe to him instead, he
We're
needs it.
bad people.
Well, you smell bad anyway.
just the worst. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Goodbye.
Like, share, and subscribe.
I finally had a chance to play around with this and put some hours in, and I can't wait to show you how good this guitar is. This is the Harley Benton ST20 HSS in satin black, a Strat style guitar that costs just £85, €99 or $88. In this video, I'm going to demo this guitar in a mix as well as on its own. So the specs are 25.5-inch scale length, 12-inch radius, 22 frets, basswood body, maple neck, amaranth fretboard, some kind of plastic nut, humbucker single, a 1-volume, 2-tone controls, 5-way toggle switch, and a vintage style tremolo. I've been putting off making a video for this guitar for a little while because, well, to be honest, I wasn't too excited about making another affordable Strat video, but yesterday I convinced myself to get started, and I'm really happy that I did. So I started by removing the strings it came with, and then conditioned the fretboard with some Music Nomad F1 oil, lubricated the nut and any other points that the strings would come into contact with, and then restrung the guitar with some Ernie Ball Primo slinkies. And it's a gauge I've never used before, 9.5 to 44, and I've been really enjoying them. I spent about 5 minutes setting up the relief, the action, and the intonation with the included tools, and then plugged it in. I just can't fault this guitar. The neck is fast and comfortable, it stays in tune, the pickups sound good. I haven't used the tremolo, so I don't know how well that holds up. I'd imagine it's not too good like most inexpensive guitars with vintage style tremolos. The only way they can improve this guitar, in my opinion, without adding significant costs like branded pickups, would be to make a hardtail version of this. I made an unboxing and initial impressions video for this a few weeks back, and my only complaint was that the plastic on the pick guard had been half ripped off. This made me think that maybe I've been sent a B-stock version, and then someone in the comments mentioned that they had a similar experience, but they found that Harley Benton had actually double wrapped it. I thought that was pretty weird, but it turns out this one was the same. Pick guards and the back plate, both double wrapped. So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but it's something to keep in mind when you remove the layer of plastic. There may be another layer to remove underneath. Some people think that these guitars are just for beginners and not up to a good enough standard to gig or record with, but have a listen to this. was literally plugging the guitar straight into the Focusrite Scarlett and using some patches that I'd made with Helix Native. Now let's check out some isolated sounds. Let me know what you think. I'll be recording the sound with an SM57 in front of a V30 loaded 212 cab with no post-processing. Alright, let's check out some sounds. Neck pickup. Position 2. Middle pickup. Position 4. Bridge pickup. So add some crunch. I'll put it on the high gain channel. Let's add some delay to that. And last of all, we'll play some leads. I'll start on the neck pickup and I'll move over to the bridge pickup. I don't know about you, but that sounded good to me. The pickups sound bright, but not piercing or harsh. They're very open sounding and allow your playing to be very dynamic. The out of phase positions were authentic sounding and delivered just exactly what you want to hear. If you don't like the issues that come along with black satin guitars like shiny spots and sweat marks, then I wouldn't buy this, but that just adds to the appeal to me. Plus the satin finish feels so good, both on the neck and where my arm sits. This guitar would definitely make a good upgrading on modding platform. There's plenty you can upgrade over time to make small gradual improvements like locking tuners or a Switchcraft output jack. Maybe some Graphtec string trees and most obviously pickups. I think a JB in the bridge would be ideal. Or a super distortion. This is the Fusion 3 by Harley Benton. This is the hardtail version, and I've already reviewed the tremolo version on my channel. It's the one that was in Silver Sparkle, and that was probably the best Harley Benton that I've played up until this point. This is very similarly spec'd, except it's got the hardtail bridge, different colour, but again, very, very high specs, and I'll go over the specs with you now. And I am going to have to cheat here. I'm going to have to use a cheat sheet for the specs, but we'll go over them together and we'll talk about them. So it's £330 or €380, which for a guitar with this kind of spec, I think is a very, very good price. The body is Nyota. It's got a bolt-on roasted maple neck and roasted maple fingerboard. Has a modern C-shaped neck with a 25.5-inch scale length and a 12-inch radius. Oh, okay, here we go. It's got a 42mm. Come and say hello. This is Carlos. He's the super famous Spanish YouTuber who's going to get me another 3 million followers. Don't you? That was the deal.
I'm giving you all my followers.
Where am I going wrong? How can I get another 3 million followers?
Just play bad.
Play bad?
Yeah.
I'm there.
No,
I should have 7 million followers in that case.
I only 4 million subscribers that I totally... they think I know how to play, but it's not good. So maybe you forgot how to play, you play bad like me, and you're getting
Maybe
subscribers.
you can give me some lessons.
Yeah, to play bad for sure.
So yeah, Graphtec Tusk Nut, 24 medium jumbo stainless steel frets, silver sparkle body finish. It's got the Roswell, these are Alnico 5 pickups, same as what's in the other one, and I wasn't overly keen on them at first, but they kind of grew on me over time. Master volume, master tone with a coil split, 3-way switch, dark chrome hardware, locking tuners. Just a really, really high spec guitar. Now this one straight out of the box has been set up really well. I've got no criticism of the way it's been set up. It's got a nice low action and it's very easy to play.
Recording.
I am. I'm just waiting for, you know, everyone
Typhoon! Typhoon! Why do you have the really big shoes on the beach?
So I didn't want to show off my toes. You got to pay for that. So now I'll play you some sounds using the Podgo, which has been given to us by the nice people at Yamaha, who are sponsoring this whole event, along with mono cases, Harley Benton guitars, Walrus audio effects, Engel amplification, and Sweetwater. So there you go, that's the Fusion 3 from Harley Benton. I think this is a great guitar. Spec-wise, this is as good as it's going to be. Got a hen in the background being... He wants attention. He needs the attention, so go to his channel and subscribe because he really needs subscribers. So yeah, this is a really, really good guitar. For the money, I don't think it can really be beaten. I already knew I liked this guitar because I tried the Silver Sparkle, the tremolo version, and loved that. So this is just a slightly more stable version of that. So today we're going to have a look at the Harley Benton SC Custom guitar with EMG pickups. And it looks something like this. That is one good looking guitar. Let me know down below what you think about this. I would normally do an unboxing for this kind of thing, but I decided that if you subscribe to my channel already, you've probably seen me unbox a lot of guitars. You know what a person unboxing a guitar looks like. You know what a box looks like. So this is the SC Custom from Harley Benton. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see what the fit and finish is like out of the box. It's just literally come out of the box. And strangely enough, what I did notice was never had a guitar do that out of the box before. Immediately, that's pretty good. I'll put a strap on and we'll go. So immediately you'll notice that with the spiky little horn bit down here, the EMG pickups and 3 volume and tone controls, that we're definitely competing more with the ESP Eclipse series of guitars as opposed to a traditional Gibson Les Paul. Again, we've got the cutaway on the back showing that it's more of a high performance type of guitar, geared probably more towards metal than anything else. But saying that, look at that top. It says it's real as well within the spec sheet. This is a real piece of flame maple. So do we believe that, or is it a photo? Is it a photo flame, or is it a veneer? And there's a carve in it, so could well be an actual top for how much is it? £369. I've got a cheat sheet down there, and I'm going to go over the specs. So let's have a look. So this is part of the deluxe series, and the body is made from Okume. And it says the top is AA flame maple. First of all, this looks a lot more flamey than AA. Secondly, I mean, there is a carve, so it could well be maple. I would presume it was a maple cap with a maple veneer, but there's enough movement in that flame to make me think that this is an actual piece of flame maple. The neck is made from Nyota, and the fretboard is made of Jitoba. It comes with a modern C-shaped neck with a 14-inch radius, definitely aiming towards more of an ESP than the Gibson, and a 24 3/4-inch scale length. And the pickups are EMG, so there's a battery compartment on the back. These are EMGs from their retroactive series. These are the Hot 70s. 2 volume controls and 1 tone control. 3-way switch and what appears to be a really good quality tunematic bridge. These are locking tuners which are Shala style. All the hardware is nickel and it comes shipped with 10 to 46 strings. This guitar is made in Indonesia and this colour in particular is called Trans Brown Flame Gloss. It reminds me of a PRS amber kind of finish, McCarty burst or another amber. But it's a nice colour. It doesn't come with a case or gig bag or anything like that. I'd prefer it not to come with a gig bag or case because I'd rather spend more money on the actual guitar, get a better quality guitar than a lesser quality guitar with a gig bag. But you might think differently. Harley Benton do make cases and soft cases for this guitar. They do like bundle deals as well. So I think for an extra £10 or so, you can actually get this guitar with a good quality gig bag as well. The last 2 Harley Benton guitars that I've tried out were the Jazzmaster and the Fusion 3. And I have to say that they have got my expectations very high for this guitar. Both of those guitars were unbelievable for the money and maybe even not for the money, just guitars in general, they were so good. So this has a lot to live up to. It's slightly more expensive than the Fusion 3. So let's do a quick quality check of the guitar. The fret ends are brilliant. There's no sharp fret ends, no overhang, anything like that. The frets have been polished really nicely. There's a few areas that aren't so well polished, but the majority of the neck is polished really well, and those spots that aren't so well polished, you'll probably polish them up just by playing the guitar. The nut lines up perfectly, it's been cut really well, no complaints there. Tuners feel really good, no issues on quality there, they feel high-end. Probably wouldn't go swapping those out just yet. The action and setup out of the box is really good. Easy to play, not too low, no buzzing out or anything, but low enough to play comfortably and fast. The Fusion 3 yesterday wasn't so good, although when I did drop the action, it played unbelievably. So, yep, good action and setup. The intonation seems pretty good up the neck. We'll plug into a tuner and we'll see exactly how well the intonation has been done, but just by listening to it, it sounds pretty good. In terms of the finish, I can't see any imperfections. I'll show you some close-up B-roll that will give you more detail on that kind of stuff. It's been put together and finished really well. It's got a nice little volute on the back of the headstock, so it gives you that bit of added reassurance. Hopefully nothing goes wrong with the headstock. I'd say the carve itself is more similar to a PRS SE than it is to a Gibson. So far it feels really solid. The Just from messing about, the tuning seems to be good, but we'll hear what it's like when we play through the amp. The strings feel good. It doesn't feel like they've just chucked on the cheapest strings they can find. They feel like a decent brand string, but they haven't actually said what they are, so they probably are no brand. So now I think the best thing to do is to double check the tuning, plug it all up, and hear how it sounds. Okay, so it sounds good, it looks good, and the quality of it is up to the standard that I would expect of a Harley Benton in this price range. I'm at the point now where I'm holding them up to a very high standard of quality because the last few guitars in this kind of price range have been brilliant, and I should expect anything you buy will be of that quality as well. If not, send it back to them, get them to send you another one. If that's not good enough, send that one back, get another one, because when they're dealing with guitars in this kind of quantity, you're going to end up with some bad ones. That's just how it is. So you might have to fish through some bad ones. I've been lucky, and I haven't experienced any bad ones, but I'm expecting that they're out there. So if you get one, just send it back. And I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find one that you are happy with. I'm going to get to know this guitar a lot better. I'm going to spend a bit of time with it. I'm going to make a track with it. I'm going to do some deep dive sounds with it, so keep an eye on my channel because they'll be coming out in the next few weeks or so. I'm going to actually compare it to an actual Gibson Les Paul with EMGs. I'm going to compare it to the SC450 and probably a load of other stuff, so there'll be loads coming your way, so keep an eye on that. I think it's getting really hard to justify spending over a certain amount on a guitar. I think that there's a gap between what this provides and then like a really high-end guitar. Those guitars in between, they should be worried, because guitars like this can compete with guitars like that. They're never going to compete with a high-end custom-built Fender custom shop, Gibson custom shop, PRS, that kind of quality. They're not going to appeal to that kind of buyer. They're not going to appeal to anyone who wants something unique like that. They don't have to worry about this. It's the Epiphones and the LTDs and the Schecters that probably really should take note of guitars like this. Because if they don't up their quality to compete with guitars like this, they're going to be in trouble. Anyway, so what did you think of this guitar? I'd love to hear down below what you thought about it. Also, let me know what kind of guitars you'd like to see me compare this to. What kind of guitars from Harley Benton you'd like to see on my channel so I can let them know. Or maybe let me know if you bought anything cool recently, anything you think that I should be aware of or that I should check out. I'd love to hear. This is the JA60 from Harley Benton, and it's the new anniversary model, so I thought I'd make a quick demo video for you so you can check it out. I recently bought the JA60 for myself, and the one I got is in shell pink. It's the standard model. This guitar is the same guitar, but it has a few more, slightly more premium options. I really like the JA60 that I bought. It's one of my favourite Harley Bentons that I've ever played, possibly one of the best ones I've ever bought. And this guitar is the same, just with a few extra features, most notably the colour. This is a special edition gold colour that they're doing for their 25th anniversary. It also comes with locking tuners, a flame maple neck, and to be honest, on the JA60, I think that's about it. We haven't actually got spec sheets here, so we're kind of guessing, but I know on the Strat it's got an upgraded bridge, and generally throughout the range it's upgraded hardware, so hopefully at the time this video comes out, you'll be able to check out the website to find out full spec and full details, and decide whether this is the one you want to go for, or just the normal base model. After playing both of them, I'd probably say this is the one to go for. I really like the colour. The pick guard, the tortoiseshell pick guard, there's been a bit of debate about that here. Some people like it, some people don't. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the tortoiseshell pick guard on the gold body. So I'm going to quickly go over what specs I do have. The JA60 normally has a basswood body, and I believe this is the same. It has a bolt-on neck, as you would expect, 25.5-inch scale length. The radius, apparently the radius is a mystery. Okay, well, Laurel fretboards, binding on the neck and block inlays, 42mm nut, locking tuners as I mentioned before. The pickups, what do they call them? They call them 2 Roswell JM Alnico 5 vintage style. Single volume, single tone, 3-way switch, tunematic bridge, and they come shipped with 10 to 46 gauge strings. So now I'm going to play you some sounds. I'm going to be using the Pod Go from line 6, which has been given to us by Yamaha, who are co-sponsoring this event, along with mono cases, Engel amplification, Harley Benton guitars, Walrus audio effects, Sennheiser microphones, and Sweetwater. So thank you so much to everybody there for making this whole thing possible. So that is the JA60 from Harley Benton, the anniversary model. Please make sure you check out all the other people that are here, all the videos that we're all making. There's fun videos, there's entertainment videos, there's educational videos, there's silly videos, well worth checking out. If you are interested in this guitar, please check out this video here. It's a video that I made on the standard model, the JA60cc in shell pink. It's a really good guitar and a good way of comparing the two guitars to see if you think it's worth the extra money for the features, or if you would just prefer to go for the standard model. I'm going to demo and review this Harley Benton for you, but I'd also like to show you the process that I went through to turn this guitar from a bit of a mess to a perfectly good guitar, to the guitar that you'll hear and see later on in the demonstration. If you want to see my initial reaction to the guitar as it was out of the box, I've got another video up on my channel showing the unboxing and what I thought about it. Keep in mind that other than a new set of strings, I didn't spend any more money making this a much more usable guitar than it was in its original state. So let's go. To start with, the frets desperately needed a good polish and a pretty intensive setup overall, but if this slightly inconvenient step is what allows us to buy these guitars at such a low price, then I'm fine with that. It was £75 and I didn't even know what kind of condition or state it was going to turn up in. As you can see, the nut looks a bit messy. The strings were catching in the slots, so I ran the strings through a few times and it cleared the slots and opened them up a bit more. You can probably even see how nasty these frets are in the video. It looks like the CNC machine possibly tore out a small chunk of maple while working on this third fret inlay, so they filled it in and they've done an alright job. You can't really feel it and you definitely won't feel it while playing. Truss rod access point could have been sanded and finished a little bit better, but I'm being really critical here. Again, while being really picky and critical here, there's a few rough areas on the edges of the pick guard, but who really cares? Let's start by getting rid of these cheap rusty strings. Now the tedious task of taping up the fretboard to protect it from sandpaper and polish. I start sorting out these frets by using 1500 grit sandpaper for a few passes and then move on to 2000 grit. And that's the easy part, I hate the next part. Next I apply some of this metal polish to a paper towel and work it into the frets, and then spend a good 10 to 20 minutes polishing all the frets until they look like a mirror and feel like glass. This next part is my favourite, it's so satisfying. Then I like to use this F1 fretboard cleaner. In this case it's not to nourish the fretboard as you would if it was rosewood, but it works well to clean off the excess metal polish. I've had this D'Addario lubricant kit for years. I must have used it on 20 plus guitars and I use it nearly every time I change strings, and there's still loads of it left. I like to lubricate the nut slots and the bridge slots. Next up is restringing, and if you've seen any of my videos before, you probably know that I love Ernie Ball strings. It ships with 9-42s, so I'm going to just use these Ernie Ball Super Slinkies. It's not a gauge I normally use. If I'm using 9s, I usually use their hybrid Slinkies 9-46. Then it's just tuning and some intensive stretching, and more tuning and more stretching and more tuning. Relief was good, and I didn't need to adjust it. And now the action. It took a couple of attempts, a bit of trial and error to get these saddles at the right height. I should have probably used the shim because although I managed to get the action perfect, the little adjustable Allen key screws are now a bit high, but it's not a big deal. After this, I tested the intonation and it was actually just right, which was a nice surprise. Last thing is cleaning the strings, removing any oils from my hands. I like to use fast fret for this, and sometimes I use the Ernie Ball string wipes, but I've run out. So as you can see, the frets really did benefit from a good polish, and the guitar overall was kind of transformed after the setup. I'm now going to play you some sounds, and you'll be hearing unprocessed audio. I'll switch between room mics and close mics to try to give you the most kind of accurate demonstration that I'm able to. And after that, I'll give you my honest opinion on this guitar. In my unboxing video, I said something like, I don't think this is a toy, and once it's had a proper setup, it could be a good playable guitar. I'm glad that this has turned out to be the case, because I would have felt pretty stupid if it hadn't. I think to say it's good for the money is stating the obvious, and the fact that you can have a playable guitar built and assembled for £75 is pretty impressive. This guitar plays really well now. I actually really like it. Like, so much more than I was expecting. The neck is so chunky, so if you don't like that kind of thing, then it's probably not the guitar for you. I don't really have a preference when it comes to neck shape and neck size. I like to have a variety for different things. The pickups are not bad. If you're using amp simulations, then you might be able to get away with keeping them. I think that if you're using a real amp with minimal processing, you might want to get rid of them and put in something a little bit better. For now, I'm leaving the stock pickups in. The tuners seem fine. I don't feel the need to upgrade. Overall, the tuning stability has been really good. I don't know if I would recommend this guitar for beginners, and that's because although it was kind of playable out of the box, it wasn't nice or easy to play in any way. It had issues that needed addressing, and I think a beginner would have really struggled with the action so high as it was. It was probably the highest action I've ever played, and I think it would have made learning to play so much more difficult than it already is. And with such a poor retention rate, you want to make playing as easy and enjoyable as possible. Most beginners probably won't understand or appreciate the value of a good setup. I know I didn't. So maybe something more like a mid-price Squire would be a better option. But if you're willing to send it to a good tech, have the skills yourself, or if you are looking to refine your own tech skills, this is perfect. I'd buy this again. In fact, I'd buy another one just to have in like an unusual tuning. Nashville tuning is something I've been thinking about. So to me, it's kind of looking like maybe these guitars aren't just all hype with no substance. I'm actually really looking forward to buying my next one to see how it compares. Today, let's have a look at this Aeolus from Harley Benton Guitars. I thought if I said the name of the guitar with enough confidence and conviction, people might actually believe that's definitely what it's called, but I'm not 100% sure that's how it's said. So let me know down in the comments how it's actually pronounced. Aeolus, Aeolus, let me know. I've never played one of these guitars before, so let's run through the specs and have a look at what we've got here. So it's £349 or €399, which seems a reasonable price for a guitar like this. This is part of the Harley Benton Pro series, so if you're used to just like the cheap, you can probably hear other people making demos in the background. They're really inconsiderate. I can't believe I have to work in these conditions. So yes, it's part of the Pro series, which is a much higher spec than what you might be used to when it comes to Harley Benton. Semi-hollow body, and the body is made of mahogany with this flame maple veneer. Roasted maple neck and roasted maple fretboard, which they have listed here as a nearly a 14-inch radius, which yeah, actually feels about right, yeah. There's glow-in-the-dark side dots, which is really cool for on stage. A matte finish on the neck, feels very smooth, and so it's a good feeling neck. 25-inch scale length, so PRS scale length. Comes with a graphite nut and stainless steel frets. Single volume, single tone, and a 3-way switch. 2 humbucking pickups. These are the Tesla Alnico 5 humbuckers. Has a Tunematic style bridge. Comes with the spoke wheel access for adjusting the truss rod, which if you are a subscriber of my channel, you'll know that that's a preferred feature for me. Comes shipped with 10 to 46 strings, and the colour of this guitar is called Frost Flame Satin. So this guitar hasn't been set up, this is how it arrived out of the box, and considering the climate and conditions that we're dealing with here, I'm happy with this. The action is good height. It's probably one of the lowest actions of all the guitars we have here. Even lower than the Shreddier type guitars, so that's pretty cool. It's a good weight and it plays really well, so let's hear how it sounds. The sounds you'll be hearing will be from a Pod Go by Line 6, and that's been given to us from Yamaha, who are sponsoring this event, alongside mono gig bags and Harley Benton guitars, Engel amplifiers, Walrus audio effects, and Sweetwater. So there's a man in a boat banging just next to me. So thank you so much to those. Let's see how it sounds. So that's the Aeolus from Harley Benton. Plays really well. I really enjoyed that. Let me know what you think down below. Do you think it's good value for money? Would you buy one of these? Please make sure you follow the hashtag, which is hashtag 42GIONE. So 42 Gear Island 1, but 42GIONE. It's a bit awkward, but that's the hashtag that we're using for this event. Please make sure you follow everybody else that's here right now, like Colin Scott from CS Guitars, Glenn Fricker, Andy, the Guitar Geek, Ryan Burke from 60 Cycle Hum. The full list is down below. Henning, of course. If you are looking for a Harley Benton guitar right now and then looking at this or interested in anything else they have to offer, please make sure you check out this video here. It's a guitar that's well worth checking out. So now I've got to go and remove a gecko from my bedroom. Don't ask. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.